Welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm your host, Ellen Barrett, and we have a great show for you today. And we are starting off first with our news partner, Phil Anderson for U.S. Senate. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Ellen.
And now today we're going to shift gears and kind of focus on a different topic. We've kind of been going over some different things every time you stop by. We're talking about free trade. What is your opinion on free trade?
I think that free trade is extremely important to not only our economy, but to our foreign policy. The best free trade agreements don't take much to write them out, don't take much documentation. People should be trading freely across borders. It's good for the economy and good for foreign policy.
So does the U.S. have free trade right now?
Not really, no.
Okay.
NAFTA and the TPP that's been proposed and other trade agreements are not free trade, strictly speaking. They more or less pick winners or losers between different industries and different companies, set up tariffs and things like that. So it's definitely not free. It could be a lot more free than it is now.
Now, I want to talk about, too, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and we hear a lot about that in the news, I think, or the TPP. So what is your position on that?
Well, I think it's a small step in the right direction,
Okay.
but there are some serious problems with it. And it's also a trade agreement that picks winners and losers between different industries. And it also allows for some adjudication and rulemaking by an organization that's not really the federal government. So in essence, we're giving up a little bit of our sovereignty in terms of governing our own trade agreements. So I think it's a step in the right direction, but I don't like the idea at all of other countries, other organizations or groups of countries or whatever, having an influence on how we trade, how our companies trade. I think that's a loss in that sense.
Now, why does the government negotiate complicated, why is that such a difficult word to say? Complicated, there we go.
There you go.
Complicated trade deals.
Well, there's a couple of reasons. The reason that they would say is because they want to protect our interests. They want to make sure things are being, the trade is fair, and then they add in certain requirements like human rights stipulations and things with who we trade with and what sort of status they have. But what the real reason that they do it is because they want to respond, government and wants to respond to the people that are contributing to the parties, to Democrats and Republicans. And when a big industry like big pharmaceutical or big oil or whoever makes a contribution, they expect that they're going to get some protection from the federal government in terms of their dealings with other countries. And that, in fact, happens. And it's to the detriment of the American people, American workers, American economy. But that's why they do it, so they can control it, not to protect anyone.
Now, if we moved more towards free trade, do you think that would help our economy here in the U.S.?
Yes, I believe that America has tremendous advantages. Not only the fact that we've got the best educated, hardest working people in the world, but we've also have natural advantages that we've been taken advantage of for a long time, and that is our location, our wealth of natural resources, access to ports in both oceans. How long has Russia been trying to get a warm water port and fighting wars to get a warm water port? We've got warm water ports in both oceans. Tremendous advantages, and I'm willing to bet on our workers and our industries to compete well in the international trade, as opposed to trying to protect them in ways that really just picks winners and losers among industries. And too often, the losers are people that are hardworking, smaller companies, individual companies, entrepreneurs in the United States. The winners are bigger companies, which quite often exist here, but also exist in other countries. So it's not even really very patriotic, so to speak, to have these trade agreements that restrict free trade, because the genius of America, the power and the energy and the creativity in America is with individuals and with businesses and with entrepreneurs and ideas and those sorts of things, not with big corporations.
Now, what will you do to facilitate free trade as senator?
Well, I would advocate for any trade agreement that basically simplifies our relationships with other companies or other countries in regards to trade. We don't need much. We don't need any tariffs at all. We should try to reduce the corporate tax to zero, if at all possible, so that the corporations relocate here and bring their capital back. That will increase employment here, increase demand for labor, increase wages, and that, in effect, is very, very good for our economy, not only companies and corporations, but for individuals and even labor unions. They'll be able to negotiate better situations, better deals, and be a lot more productive and profitable. The other part of that I don't want to de-emphasize is that free trade is an important part of our foreign policy. The more equitable and free trading that we do with other countries, the less terrorism there'll be, the less animosity, the less desire for citizens of other countries to be involved in violence and aggression towards us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Phil Anderson for U.S. Senate. Thank you for being with us today. Always great to hear your thoughts and have you on the show.
Well, thank you.
And Talk of the Town will be back with more right after this. Stay tuned to Channel 57.